Good morning, everyone. Well, I uploaded the wrong intro twice. So here you are. You have me. You are at Think and Grow Rich. And let's fix this. There we go. And welcome, welcome. Good morning, Dr. Marcia. So glad you're here. And because I messed that all up, I'll sing you in with a song. This is Oration, Saga, and Song to experience Think and Grow Rich live the way it was 100 years ago in many instances and how it applies to today. So as you come in, let us know where you're calling from, and let me sing you a song from 1924 so you'll know what your parents and grandparents listened to. We don't want you to forget those wonderful times when things were much simpler. Good morning, everyone. Come right on in, grab your coffee. You got a few minutes here before we begin. Someday he'll come along, the man I love, and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And when he comes my way, I'll do my best to make him stay. He'll look at me and smile, I'll understand, and in a little while he'll take my hand. And though it seems absurd, I know we both won't say a word. Maybe I shall meet him Sunday, maybe Monday, maybe not. Still, I'm sure to meet him one day. Maybe Tuesday will be my good news day. He'll build a little home just meant for two, from which I'll never roam. Who would you? And so all else above, I'm waiting for the man I love. Welcome, everybody. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. From which I'd never roam. Who would you? And so all else above, I'm waiting for the man I love. So there you go. And let me tell you, this is a song that my mother used to walk around the house singing when I was a little girl. And I've sung it all my life. And I hope you like it. Things were simpler then. Love was simpler. There was complexity behind it, but everything moved slower. People were more present. And so don't forget what it was like just a short 100 years ago. You know, my father and mother were born more than 100 years ago. So, and now they're both deceased, but time is an illusion, isn't it? So let's say hello to everyone this morning. Today's topic, even though I ran the outro wrong and have no clue on how to cut that off, so you'll just have to be entertained. The show must go on. And I'm Leslie Flowers. Let me just tell you a tiny bit about me. We'll go till 10:50 today. And we're going to, you heard the song, and we're going to take a really deep look at decision, which is the mastery over procrastination, right? The number one of all the failures, the thing that holds us up 100 years ago, and I would say today, is procrastination, which is the opposite of decision. So it could be very simple, and I'll show you how simple it really is. And the one key that will have you always make quick decisions, or at least aspire to every time once you know this. And it's, what I've learned over 20 years, almost 20 years teaching Think and Grow Rich. I've read it maybe 90 times. When I was younger, I read a lot of books, but there came a time where I wanted to become a master at something. So in 2007, with 10 years of leadership development and personal development, transformation technology, a little quantum physics, a little metaphysics, and even Krishna consciousness. And let me just tell you, Krishna consciousness is way above where we are as far as awareness of our infinite potential. So in 2007, the universe guided me to the book Think and Grow Rich. Now, why? It's an old man's book, right? It's thick, right? And I don't know why, but I do know this, that when I was a little girl and we played school, what did you do? Were you the teacher or the student? I was always the teacher and very uncomfortable as the student. So it took my whole life to get right back here, where each week, twice a week, I teach you the things that I've learned over 25 years. I've made money, but I'm not in that place. I'm in the place now where I don't want to leave this planet without your knowing what I've learned, because the results are documented and pretty phenomenal. But we just go through each day, right? And you'll do the same things in your life. So let me just say a quick hello, because we have things to do today. I hope you like that song. And there is Dr. Marcia. Hello, Dr. Marcia. Tuesday mornings, 8 a.m. live. You'll want to check out her her live video training. It's beautiful. And there is my friend Elizabeth Borquez, who is a registered nurse, a certified hypnotherapist, author of many books. She's been a guest on Mind Over Matter Mondays, which is kind of the sister, the Monday to this Friday, of getting your thinking going, of becoming an agile thinker, not so much reacting, but actually stopping a second and deciding, which point of view am I going to think in this one? That's where you want to be. Not so much where you're triggered, based on your fears, but more about you have so much experience and so much diplomacy and so many different points of view. Depending on the context, you can actually go into that file and pull out the perfect example. If you're speaking to a bunch of HVAC repairmen, right, you are going to want to tell stories that are relevant to these people. Well, once you become a master at it, and you all know, because I know many of you are masters, you can take that same example and on the fly reshape it for the context of the audience. That is context competence. And it takes time and a deep, deep investment in a particular subject so that you are masterful at it. And when you're ready, you do that. So there's Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. Wonderful Christy Williams. Thank you, Christy, for reposting this event. I am sure that you're doing that brings people in, when they're ready. And there are no coincidences. There's Mark. Hello, Mark, calling in from India. There's our wonderful Meryl Cass. Meryl, thank you so much. Yes, you're in New Jersey. I love it. So glad you're here, my friend. Oh, and look who's here. You must have the day off. Felipe, if you don't know Felipe he's a top voice on LinkedIn, and he's a business coach, but his specialty is HR, and he's working full-time now, so we don't see him as much. He has several shows which are on hiatus lives. So just keep your eyes posted. And by the way, I'm so honored that you're all here. This is who you are for me. You're my people, right? I mean, I do this for you, to give to you. And I want to acknowledge Merrill because I didn't really say a lot about him. So Felipe, thrilled that you're here. Merrill is the magic event sharer. Get on his dashboard, because he will always let you know when the most fabulous live videos are going on, live shows on LinkedIn. I love that. So thank you, Merrill. And there's Andrea. Oh, hi, Andrea. Houston, do we have a problem this morning? Andrea has Wednesday mornings, 8:30 to 8:45 Eastern, 15 minutes of kindness. Right in the middle of the week, I start with that. I also start with Stanley Green's Power Thinking call. And then there's one that I have at 6 a.m. that's not on LinkedIn, The Power of Touch. So Wednesday mornings are really busy for me getting my head straight for the rest of the week. All right, let's see who else is here. And look who's here, Charles Caldwell. Hello, Charles. So glad to see you. Charles has a 1 a.m. Eastern Thursday mornings show, and I've been on several of them. Needless to say, it's 1 a.m. here, so I have to set my alarm. So don't stop inviting me. I'm so glad you're here, Charles. Charles was a seminar leader for Landmark Education and part of the staff for years, of which I participated in several programs. I never met Charles, but he and I speak a very special language. Anybody who's done that work, you'll hear little words popping out, right? And it's a home right in that they took this transformational therapy. And when I use one of the phrases that I learned in 1996, I always look at Charles and smile because he knows. Oh, there's Christy again. Hello, hello. And look who is here, Linda Meyer. She is a chef. And Tim Sohn is here. Now, this is fantastic. Hi, Tim. Tim has a whole series of perspectives on cancer. So if you know someone who is faced with, has a family member, a friend who's been through it themselves, please connect with him. A lot of times we don't want to do it unless it's touched us. And I'll be honest, right? I'm grateful that thus far I have not had to face this, but I know exactly where I would go. Exactly. To the group of people that Tim Sohn leads. So if you know anybody, reach out to Tim. Thanks, Tim, for being here. I think this is your first time. And here is 𝗓𝗏𝗏. She is an amazing speaker and international best-selling author. Her specialty is NLP and hypnosis. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and she'll be back for a second week on Monday. If you didn't know, I haven't announced it yet. She was with us last Monday. We just dabbled in and got to know Sandra a lot, because we have to know the practitioner a little bit, something about them. And then this week, she's going to really get into the teaching at 10 a.m. There's our darling Tracy, who has been in Japan and China at the Great Wall, and she didn't clear anything with me, but I can tell by her pictures where she is. So she's been a phenomenal resource for me. She teaches The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and she has a Wednesday night at 9 p.m. live on business. She's a very smart lady. All right, and there is Zarar. Hello, Zarar. Zarar is one of the first people that I reconnected with after COVID when I came here. And let's see what Sandra says, because I got to get into this fast. Think and Grow Rich is akin to a sacred text. We can revisit its insights at various stages of our lives to uncover deeper wisdom. Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. Look, Napoleon Hill wrote this book 100 years ago. Thanks, Sandra. I really appreciate that. Wrote this book 100 years ago and knew nothing about success. And yet he's known as the 20th century, oh my gosh, sorry, that was my microphone, greatest reporter on success. But he started his research when he was 19. and he was a cub reporter, and he met Andrew Carnegie, and Andrew Carnegie sent him on a 20-year quest to find out what is it that wealthy, happy, and healthy people in our country are doing that the rest of us don't see. And so he spent 20 years. He interviewed, they say, up to 10,000 people, but it was 500 of our country's greatest successes that he repeatedly over the 20 years interviewed them and checked in. And so what's in Think and Grow Rich, to Sandra's point, everything that's in there has already been written. The difference is it's in all your religious texts, your philosophical texts. We've been documenting written texts for 5,000 years. It's all in Think and Grow Rich. So he's the one who synthesized the age-old principles, and it took him 20 years to do it. So you can go to Think and Grow Rich. You can go to the New Testament. You can go to the Old Testament. You can go to the Bhagavad Gita. You can go to the Quran. You can go to whatever, the Tao. It doesn't matter. They're all there, but they're sporadic over history. That's the genius of this book. All right, let's see what else we have so I can jump right in. Oh, there's 𝗘𝗅𝗏𝗏. Hi, 𝗘𝗅𝗏𝗏, calling in from the Philippines. It's late at night there, just like it is in Hong Kong. Thank you, my friend, for being here. I sent her a copy of my book because Amazon didn't have a distribution in the Philippines. It took forever to get there. Forever. Oh, Toulouse is here. This is not her partner. It is her puppy. The only dog I know that may have conscious awareness, because he hangs on this work. There's Lisa Pfeffick, registered dietitian. You may wonder why I talk about you like this. Because the thing that I missed so much in my life was acknowledgement. I never thought of myself as good as I really am. You tell me, so I tell you. And that's one of the things we humans want to hear. We want to hear the good things. We hear plenty of bad things and criticisms, right? You're welcome. You're welcome. And you don't get tired of hearing it. And also, you are the people that come pretty much every week to this and to Monday. Somehow these audiences have blended, because it is all about thinking differently, having agile thoughts, the ability to pick and choose what you're thinking rather than being run over by your fears. Well, I can't do that. What if I get sick? I can't get involved with anybody because they might break up with me like the last person. I can't do public speaking because I was so humiliated as a child. I can't. I'm too old. I'm going to die. I've been sick, and I don't have enough money. And you don't need a dime to start on your dream. So all these fears are real. But they're very well practiced. They were real at one time. Are they real now? Yes. When you're asked to do something that you're afraid of and you don't do it because you're afraid, this is where you have the option. And you'll love today's topic because you have an option to choose what you're thinking. Oh, there's Ashif, modern day Rumi. I call him Rumi reincarnated, because whatever I quote, he can quote faster and shorter. We're all going for less is more. Thank you, Felipe. I learned a lot from you, frankly, because I watched you and how you do this. Check my mic. Does that mean you can't hear me? Can you guys hear me? I need to know. Okay. So Zara, I'm concerned. Check my mic. What does that mean? Let me, I just want to make sure you can hear me. Checking my audio really quick. Yeah. Looks like it's working just fine. Okay. Unless I hear from you that something's wrong, we're going to dive right into this. Thank you so much. This is the second week that you've been here. Mother's Earth Only Live. Okay. Thank you for being here. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but that's okay. I'm happy you're here. We can. Okay, Zarar. Yay. Thank you for clearing that up for me. All right. Let's take a look at what we have on tap here. All right, let me make this big. You can't hear me. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, here's what we're doing today. And we're going to do this in 30 minutes because I am doing my best to get out of here in 50 minutes so you can go to wherever your next thing is. The song I sang was from 1924. Billie Holiday sang it, The Man I Love. Oh my God, I just love that song. Can you tell? And I've only been singing it for several decades. Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much. We're going to look at excerpts and stories from Decision. We're going to talk about the lessons which decisions take courage. You'll see this in a minute. Then we're going to visualize using our imagination going back in time 100 years ago. So why am I doing this? I want you to bring this up and put yourself in this context of 100 years ago. I want you to look around and see what's there. I do have a photo that you can look at. Close your eyes, look at the photo first. But you are going to drop into 1924, New York. Okay? And that's what our visualization and meditation will be. You've never been there. So I want you to find this place for yourself, because visualization is the DNA of manifestation. And you manifest by visualizing and getting excited about it. Okay, we're also going to go over briefly the other principles that we talked about. So let me go on to the next one here. Okay, so today is Decision, the Mastery of Procrastination. I said I did a post about procrastination. Oh my God, it's my worst. Is it yours? No matter how evolved we are, there's stuff we don't want to do. But there is a way to reverse or to come up with the opposite, which is decision. The whole simplicity of decision making has to do with definite purpose. When you have one goal, and it's compelling. And that's the first thing we learned was in the introduction. It's not even one of the principles of success. You have to have a clear image and be compelled to do this thing. Compelled enough that your fears, which will come up, they always do and they have for decades, take a backseat because of the intensity of your desire. So once you have a definite purpose, then we moved into desire, which is the first principle of success, the starting point of all achievement. Useless, all of them, unless you have a clear, specific purpose. Useless. You can do it, but you're going to waste your time. If you do not have a definite purpose, then you're going to be sporadic, hit or miss on getting your stuff, which doesn't build confidence, doesn't build a business. But what if there was a process? And there is. So you just have to find the teacher that knows what it is. Oh, look who's here. I got to say hello to 𝗟𝗫. Leigh is on the West Coast. So happy Friday to you, Leigh, and you have a puppy in your hands too. Oh, did I see Nicole is here? Did you see Nicole before me? Okay, I don't see her name here, but 𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a publisher of Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing, and I'm doing line editing for her publishing company to support her as it's brand new. And I happen to have done 18 line edits and published that many books for other people. So let's do this. Okay, we got everybody good. Let me go here to this. Here are the lessons that I want you to listen for when I tell you some stories out of the chapter on decision. Okay. These are the three things that if you remember nothing, these are what Napoleon Hill, as I read and listened to this again, and I don't even know how many times, these are the things that popped up. These first two: tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. So he points a lot to not spilling the beans with everybody about your definite purpose, because they all have fears too, and they're going to second guess you. But he points very clearly to a small mastermind where people are looking for your greatness and you're looking for theirs. That family is the worst. to confide in, except for my friend Lachelle Atkins, who has 15 children and she swears by telling them everything. But that's okay. In Luke, I think it's 4:1 in the New Testament, you won't be a prophet in your own home. And that's because they don't want to lose you. They think if you go out and do this thing, your family, that you won't love them anymore. You won't be with them anymore. Stupid, I know. Foolish, but that's what we feel. Please don't go and take this big adventure. Keep it quiet. Also, he points out that other people can take your idea, which I don't agree with. I know it's true, and people do steal ideas, and that's a really good reason to keep it quiet. But think about this. If you're compelled enough and you're the one to do it, then do it. Because if you give it up, the universe doesn't erase that idea. Well, Leslie didn't finish it, so let's just trash it. 86, that idea. Does that make sense? All ideas are already here. That's how, when you give up on something that you've been working on, when you give up on it, that idea goes back into the universe and someone else will get it. And that's why you'll hear someone across the other side of the country doing exactly your plan that you gave up. That's another way to look at it. The next one is the value of decision depends on the courage required to render it. There are risks in every decision, but think about for yourself. Listen for when you have done this. It may not seem like it now, but when you go back and you look into your history, you've done all these things. You may not have risked your life, but you may have. You look at it afterwards. So this is what you want to be listening for. And then I'll teach you the magic question. If you have a definite purpose, decision is easy as pie. And it will clear up your procrastination. Oh, and procrastination is the other side of decision. Decision is faith. Procrastination is fear. We're always aspiring to think positive thoughts. The reactions from fear are not thinking. They're reacting. They're strong. So the first thing that comes into your mind is one of those 6 fears, the voices. You can't do that, Leslie. You don't have enough money. And it beats your logical, strategic thinking to the punch. Now, we're bombarded with thousands and thousands and thousands of ideas every day. So you catch as catch can. You aspire to do this. You aspire to recognize when you're triggered. And then what are you going to do? That's when you pick and choose which point of view you would like to share, which is objective and responsive. It doesn't happen that often, but you have to keep working at it. Pretty soon, you'll recognize the fear of poverty and you'll say, I don't need any money to start a business. You think you do, but the reality is you can take 2 steps, which starts momentum. It doesn't cost a dime. And once you're in action, fear takes a back seat, right? As soon as you start moving toward what you want, take a couple of small steps, those fears calm down. Now, they'll come back. And this is where you want to ask the question. Do you want to remind yourself, what was the definite purpose? Remind yourself, why did I start this thing anyway? It's very easy to get off kilter. But if you have one goal and you find yourself procrastinating, go back to why you were doing it. Oh my God, the reason you're doing it is because you have all this information. I mean, you could take Sandra, for example. She shared with us on Monday that she has a big message to get out, and she's been humiliated as a child, as we all have, speaking in public. So she had to be so compelled, have such a definite purpose, that she got on stage and broke through that fear that she's been carrying all her life, just like we have. So that is what it takes. Now, that's not the magic question, but it is tied to definite purpose. So let me begin by reading something to you. Let me see how the time is going. Out of Decision, the 7th principle of success, or Step to Riches. Oh gosh, let me make sure. We did desire. Okay, we did definite purpose. We did desire. Let me tell you about faith. Okay, so now that you're compelled to do this, and this is the starting point of all achievement, now you take 2 steps every week. You must take small actions in spaced, repetitive intervals over time. If you have too many goals, nothing gets done. Not really. And it doesn't have to take over your life, right? All you need is a couple of steps, and you don't plot everything out because you're growing in awareness of your potential. People, you're attracting people to you with answers. If you're stuck on the exact steps that you set to reach a goal that you've never done before, you failed at, you would have already done it. You'll be grappling with the obstacles, and the people that are on their way to you, you may not understand why, but they are, you're attracting them, will walk right by with the answers. You have to be listening for the answers. Have your ears perked. So let's talk just a little bit. I want to read you this bit about Henry Ford and his stubbornness and decision making and how it made him a millionaire. Not liked necessarily by a lot of people. You'll find that many geniuses are not liked, right? Because they are very firm in their purpose, and most people are not. One of Henry Ford's most outstanding qualities was his habit of reaching decisions quickly and definitely, and for changing them slowly, if at all. This quality was so pronounced in Mr. Ford that it gave him the reputation of being obstinate. It was this quality which prompted him to continue to manufacture his famous Model T, the ugliest car, when all of his advisors and many of the purchasers of the car were urging him to change the Model T. Perhaps Mr. Ford delayed too long in making the change, but the other side of this story is that Mr. Ford's firmness of decision yielded a huge fortune before the change in the model became necessary. There is but little doubt that Mr. Ford's habit of definiteness of decision assumed the proportion of obstinacy, but this quality is preferable to slowness in reaching decisions and quickness in changing them. Okay? So he didn't need to make the change that everybody was telling him, right, until it was necessary for him to do that. I don't know, maybe it outgrew his manufacturing facility, because remember, there's also a story about, Ford was not an engineer, but he had engineers working for him, and he sent them to the drawing board to create a single block 8-cylinder engine. And after 6 months of them working on this, they came back and they said, we can't do it. And he said, go back again. You can. What he knew was that all ideas are here, and it only takes someone to do it. Once it's envisioned, and this is the work I do, your visualization is the DNA of manifestation. And I'm excited that 9 a.m. next Wednesday morning on Zoom, if you're interested, I'll be doing an oration on the manifestation of kindness. So, all right, let me see what's next here. All right, so there are a few things that I also want to read to you, but let me make sure I get this. Okay, the magic question. I'm going to go ahead and give this to you now. So first of all, keep it quiet. Have 1 or 2 people. I have 3 people in my life, and I have a very small, tight accountability group. Only 3 of us. But there are many others that I listen to. Absolutely, you all are many of them, right? But they're looking for me to be successful, and I'm looking for them to be successful. So tell the world what you want, but show them that you've done it first. And remember that the value of a decision depends on the courage required to render it. And before I read you this, let me tell you what the magic question is, okay? Make sure. Oh, Nicole is here. Hi, honey. Oh, that's, sorry. That was totally unprofessional. Hello, Nicole. I'm very decisive and I'm building my own framework, so I decide what and when. There you go. And I suspect that it's based on what you value most. You see, when you have one goal and it's a definite purpose and you're compelled and you're ignoring your fear, it's something you value very much. That's where you want to go. Here's the magic question. You're working on your goal and a wonderful new opportunity lands in your lap. Oh my God, you're really excited. This is where you have to say, here's the question you ask yourself. If I do this, take on this new thing, will it take me directly to my goal or not? Now, most goals can be 12 weeks. That's what I use. But when I'm working on one, that's the one. So if something comes along and that wants me to go out of town to do something, I won't do that. If it only reason I would do it is if it takes me directly to my goal. But you don't have to throw it away. You talk to the person and say, listen, I can't do it now, but could we have a conversation in about 6 weeks when I finish up this project? I'm so interested in this. And most people are going to say, of course, this is your boundary. You don't take on anything. And don't fool yourself by thinking, well, if I add this, maybe I'll meet some people. BS. Only take on things. This is a very hard boundary to keep because we all love having new referrals and everything. But in order to be consistent in your achievement, you must follow this process. And that's what's in Think and Grow Rich. Oh, thank you, you sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now I want to read you this because I think this is really important as I check the time. And because I want you to look for yourself in this. Freedom or death on a decision. So this is the value of a decision depends on the courage required to render it. The value of, I just said that. Okay. The great decisions which have served as the foundation of civilization were reached by assuming great risks, which often meant the possibility of death. Lincoln's decision to issue his famous Proclamation of Emancipation, which gave freedom to the slaves of America, was rendered with full understanding that his act would turn thousands of friends and political supporters against him. He knew, too, that carrying out of that proclamation would mean death to thousands of men on the battlefield. In the end, it cost Lincoln his life. That required courage. Socrates' decision to drink the cup of poison, hemlock, by the way, rather than compromise in his personal belief, was a decision of courage. It turned time ahead 1,000 years and gave to people then unborn the right to freedom of thought and of speech. The decision of, now keep in mind, this is 1924, so politics were quite different. And, history wasn't so far away. So he says the decision of General Robert E. Lee, when he came to the parting of the way with the Union and took up the cause of the South, was a decision of courage, for he well knew that it might cost him his own life and that it would surely cost the lives of others. But the greatest decision of all time, as far as any American citizen is concerned, how timely is this, was reached in Philadelphia on July 4th, 1776, when 56 individuals signed their name to a document which they well knew would bring freedom to all Americans or leave every one of the 56 hanging from the gallows. So, keep in mind here that it isn't necessary for you to risk your life, but just think about when you got on that stage like Sandra did, the very first time you punched through that fear because your message was so compelling. It meant more to you than that old fear. And then once you do it, you got to do it a few more times. Okay. Once isn't enough to outweigh that fear that's quite practiced, but at least you've disproven it that you've been living with, and it reveals that you have faith in your ability and your deservability to have these things. So very often we don't think that we can do it, and we don't think we deserve it. But by doing the thing that you failed at, or that you have no clue how to do, but you did it based on desire and a definite purpose, it goes a long way to create brand new faith in your ability and deservability. It takes time. So let's see what you guys have to say. Are you enjoying this? Anybody got any questions? Lincoln did in spite of knowing what happened. That's right. Oh, and I mean, please, there's Gandhi, there's just a whole slew of people, but even a small thing, which seems like for me, for your ability to get up on stage, I know what it's like, but I never had that problem. I was in theater. I'm singing to you guys, right? I mean, really, but I have other fears. And they'll always be with you, but they become a whisper. You start to recognize, oh, right? Well, I've already disproven that fear. If you can catch it, then you can choose powerfully while thinking, which point of view, which road do I want to go down? So I hope you're enjoying this. Let me just see what's next on the slide. Oh, we're doing so good on time. Okay, let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't leave any good questions out. So this is a good time to do this. I don't know what this is new. No, okay, hang on. Oh, who is our LinkedIn user? Is that you, Jen Lynn? Sean, Michael, hi. You slipped in. Sean is amazing. On Mondays at noon, he has a wonderful live show all about thinking, right? So honestly, the only thing that we human beings can control, it took me my whole life to figure this out. It's what we think, how frequently we think it, and how we feel when we think it. Because that's what causes manifestation. So if we're miserable and a victim and we're thinking, whoa, woe is me, we get a lot more of that at our front door. But if we're thinking, I can do this, I have a good reason to do it. Why do I want to do it? What impact will it make? That will help you determine what is that one thing. And of course, there are going to be smaller goals along the way, especially if it's a long-term goal. Part of the reason that we don't leave it at philanthropy, because the purpose of a goal is to motivate us into action. And you're not going to be motivated without something to reinvigorate yourself. So that's why a lot of times with big goals, we have phases. You know, we can do this phase, I have to do this first, and then once that's done, but it's all to reach this state of philanthropy, which is what? I don't know, $10 million? Who knows? Okay. Now, our timing is excellent. Let's see here. I'm absorbing. Oh, thank you, Andrea. I tell you, do it, come as often as you can. All right, 100% true. As Sandra Brothers share, visualizing her name being called to announce she is a United States citizen prior to stepping on the stage to speak, manifesting a positive memory was both awe-inspiring and extremely touching. You know, that took courage. I mean, that takes real courage, but you're very clear on what the definite purpose is, and she knew that her message to those who are coming into the United States, that they weren't born here, they came with another language, that they needed support. and she could help them. And she went and got all these certifications, still didn't get on the stage. So that was huge. Was she going to die? No. But did it take every bit of her resolve and her focus to do it? Yes. You've done it too. Okay, let's see what gratitude and desire are good motivators. Yes, the desire. Gratitude is being grateful for the opportunity, absolutely, for me. And desire, I have to want to. And I procrastinate when I don't want to. Okay, let me see what I have next here. Okay, so next week, we're going to go on to persistence. And what you want to know about persistence is that when you're building faith in your ability and deservability based on your desire for the thing you want, which is built on a definite purpose, it's easy to not put in all the time. So how do you use persistence to build faith? Now, of the 13 principles of success, there are 2 that you absolutely have to have, or you won't do anything. But if you use, or that you'll be satisfied with and consistently. The more of the 13 principles you understand and use, you realize that the universe has really set you up for success. And you don't worry about as many things because the universe has taken care of a lot of that. You just haven't learned what it's doing. Like there are 7 universal laws. Takes away a lot of anxiety. We think we have to do everything, not necessarily so. Okay, now I kind of forgot where I was going. So thank you for that, right? I'm so glad you're enjoying this. Let's see. All right, for me to say that a decisive person pushes forward and stamps out procrastination because there is in place a buffer of emotions or facts at the back of his mind he can always fall into in case of failure. Oh, it's a question. Hey, I love how you're looking at it. The buffer is God. And I believe that it is the vibration. God, the universe, Buddha, Krishna, Allah, one source of love and energy. It's tied into you. It's the whisper of intuition that can't yet outweigh your fear in every case. So I would say that our buffer is always with us. I love that, Jarito. Let me read that again. Is it right for me to say that a decisive person pushes forward and stamps out procrastination because there is a buffer in place of emotions or facts at the back of his mind he can always fall into in case of failure? Yes. And what we're doing is we're developing the muscle to be able to make the choice of thought, right? And we're triggered all the time. Right? In most often in negative form. So it actually takes something. So for me, I already know when I'm triggered with something, I can hear the whisper of my intuition. I know better. That's conscious awareness. God is always with us. The universe is always with us. How else would you be able to manifest anything? You don't really go to your goal, do you? Or does the goal arrive on your doorstep? Anyway, I want to get into our visualization because it's 3 minutes and we're going to go over by a minute. These are great, great questions. Thank you so much. How do you get over procrastination when you don't want to? Go back to the thing you were doing and ask yourself why you started it in the first place. Were you compelled? Were you the one? Were you doing it just to please someone else? How do you value it? Sometimes over time, things do change and your values change, but that's the easiest way when you go, oh, I really don't want to do this. And then you go, okay, well, why did I say I would do it in the first place? Was I pleasing someone? Why did I do that? This is why definite purpose is so important. You're the one based on your values. You can do anything. Anything. We've got people that are paraplegics climbing mountains. So now, interestingly enough, we had this conversation on the friendship bench, which is Dennis Pittico's weekly Zoom meeting on these kinds of questions. And we talked about purpose. And what I've discovered is that we all have the same purpose. Makes it really simple. What's my purpose? What's my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. That's confusion. And the confused mind does nothing. So I finally figured it out. The common denominator for all human beings is to serve. We're the happiest when we serve. The thing is that we have different vehicles to serve. When I was raising my family, that was my purpose. And this gentleman that was in the room, he was telling us about a very close friend of his who died or had cancer and then died. And he sat by his bedside and helped him get through all of this. He was the one person, but he didn't really understand the relationship to what he did with his purpose during that period of time. That was his purpose. He got really clear. So, now this is my purpose. In the winter of my life, I'm not making money. I mean, I do a little bit, but that's not my focus anymore. My focus is to give this to you in such a way so that it's faster and easier for you, right? And that's why I write books. So that answers your question. All right, everybody, we're going over, but I'm going to read it. I think you're going to love this visualization. So here's the visual. All right, and I'm going to put myself in the background. You need to let me know right away if you can't hear me, okay? All right, now as I told you, we're going to transport ourselves to 1924. Hey, Maria Simonetti. We're doing the visualization right now. Excuse me. We're going to transport ourselves to 1924. We're going to practice using imagination on the screen of our mind to visualize this for yourself. You're there. This is about where you are right now. So just listen to my words. You can close your eyes if you like, but look at the picture, and this is where we're headed. All right. Let's step into the quiet magic of 1924, a time of shifting worlds, whispered revolutions, and a deep personal resolve. This visualization blends courage, values, and the atmosphere of a pre-dawn walk in a strange city nearly a century ago. First, close your eyes. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Fill your lungs and your diaphragm, and then slowly exhale through your mouth as long as you can to completely empty your breath. Let's do that once more. Breathe in slowly through your nose, filling your lungs and your diaphragm as much as you can. Pause a moment, and then let's exhale slowly through our mouth and let the present melt away. We are stepping into another time. It's 1924. You're standing at the edge of a cobbled street in a city that feels foreign, perhaps Vienna, New York, Buenos Aires. The world is recovering, reinventing. Gas lamps flicker. The air smells thick of coal, smoke, damp stone, and the faint sweetness of baking bread in distant ovens. Can you smell it over the coal? You're wearing a long coat and sturdy shoes. In your pocket, a folded letter, a reminder of why you came here. The city is hushed, its secrets tucked behind shuttered windows. You begin to walk. Each step echoes with quiet resolve. The streets curve unpredictably. You pass a newspaper stand. Headlines speak of change, invention, unrest, but you walk on, not guided by certainty, but by conviction. Your breath is steady. With each inhale, you draw in courage, not loud or showy, but the kind that walks alone in the dark, trusting the path will reveal itself. You feel the weight of your values, honesty, resilience, curiosity, like invisible armor. A tram rattles past, empty. A cat darts across the street. You smile. Even in unfamiliar places, life pulses with quiet rhythm. You reach a small square. A fountain gurgles softly. The sky begins to lighten. Lavender and rose creeping over the rooftops, you pause. In this moment, you feel your values rise like steam from the cobblestones. They are not relics of the past. They are timeless. They guide your choices, shape your courage, and whisper, you are not here to fit in. You are here to stand true. You take one last breath. The city begins to stir. You are ready, not because you know what comes next, but because you know who you are. When you're ready, open your eyes and carry the lantern of your soul into your day. All right. So I'm coming back on the screen. If I can get my God, I tell you, when the cash runs out, there we go. Perfect. Let me get this now right here. Now, so we went over again. Hi, Jessie. So glad you're here. I'm so glad you enjoyed that. And as we close out today's session a bit late, I admit, go forth, remember these things. Did you listen for the questions? Did you step into the visualization, standing in the past while you're in the present? This goes a long way to develop your imagination, which is the workshop of the mind, and it transfers into your ability to visualize powerfully. And with that, my friends, we are going to close down. I'll run this for you. And I hope to see you Monday at 10 a.m. live at Mind Over Matter Mondays with Sandra Bolte, digging into neuro-linguistic programming. Have a fabulous weekend.